Hello everyone and welcome to this year's Smash Gaming's Top 10 Games of 2015. This will be me, Fraz as always, telling you pretty much my titles that made up a good chunk of my year. Something I enjoyed. There's been a lot of freaking stellar titles this year, I've got to admit. A lot of stellar titles that more than makes up for the almost too terrible to mention Bulge Ups of 2014. I think we all remember how terrible that freaking year was. Please do keep in mind that this is all personal opinion. This is not related to any award shows. It's purely based on time I spent with titles this year, that came out this year, and so on and so forth. Now, I'm going to be including some early access titles. I was pondering on this and spent weeks sort of going, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? I'm going to base it on, right, this is released this year. Is it a good content based sort of level that I can then go yes or no? So just to do that sort of thing. But you never know when they actually release, and it's like, you know, because some things can completely change. There's been a lot of things that have went in early access that have completely and utterly changed from the way they are. Anyway, if they came out this year, I will be including them in a sense, if I feel that they're like they have like sort of a good chunk of their content done. So yes, let's see. We will be doing this. It will be a top 10. It'll be going from 10 to 1, usually the way they go, unless you have some odd thing that goes, here's number 1, and then nobody cares about anything else. You know, the channel has grown really superbly this year, and I cannot thank you guys enough. We are pretty darn close to 20,000. We have kind of pattered out a little bit, but it is kind of, you know, shuffling around a bit and things are going up and down and whatnot. But I believe we'll get to 20,000 when we do, and it'll be awesome. I do have some nice things planned for when we get there, and it'll probably be a lot easier to do around things at the time. But it's been rather freaking insane year for Smash Gaming. I cannot thank you guys enough on this. So, I hope you're ready for this top 10 games, because let's get started. First up into the fray, coming in a grand total at the end of the scale, has got to be Ternisha. So starting out at the top 10 countdown is this little fantastic indie title, and I don't think it's any small feat of a game. It has so much content to melt your brain, it's outright freaking nuts. If you feel like seeing a little bit extra than the gameplay in the background, click the little smash loot button. It'll be somewhere around the bloody screen, and you can see my first impressions and see a little bit more. I did actually manage to do quite a lot of coverage on this. I was allowed to see some extra new levels before they were actually released to the public, and I was allowed to do an actual stream with the developers, which was kind of my first time doing such a thing, and it was such an experience. It was so brilliant to be able to do that. I am no professional in the game. I get stomped by that game so much. It will make you rage. It will make you rage quit. You will come back to it, but right, okay. The music is astounding. The graphic style is absolutely phenomenally looking. It is really sharp, really nice, and I like the way the levels are designed, and it's just really freaking cool to dive into. If you want a little bit more though, Ternisha is a title that is a speedy little platformer, but what it makes stand out is there's no jump button. You've got to really kind of think outside of the box for this. You have to try and rocket boost your way around levels. You also have a little sort of small booster when you rocket jumping, and you go pew. Nobody sound check that thing. You're gonna, like I said, you'll have to think outside of the box. There's some of the hardest levels you will come across. Oh, and there's a dragon. There is a dragon, which is bloody awesome. But if you like your platformers or you're up for a brand new challenge, I couldn't recommend this enough. It is likely going to cause you rage, likely going to cause you to pull out your hair, but it is absolutely a blast to play. So please do, if you want, check out Ternisha, check out the video, and this is where it takes number 10, and now we'll be moving into number 9. Stomping in at number 9 mark is none other than Evolve. I know Evolve was one of those titles that was insanely fun, but also had some questionable DLC at times to some folk. I quite liked it in a way, because it was like, it wasn't subtracting from the game itself. It was like, if you want an extra monster, you can have this extra monster. And it was like, I just found that it was a little bit butchered from, I think, now don't quote me, of course, it could have been because they took on a publishing deal with 2K, and 2K might have wanted to make its money back, but who knows, I'm not quite sure. I had a ton of fun. Me and Charlotte Shuffle played that for so many hours, and it's great to go back to every now and again, but It's such a beautifully fantastic game, and is really quite well optimized, I must admit. Like, you could max this out and it wouldn't be like making your, like, well, I do have a fairly beefy graphics card, I'm not going to say I don't, but it's not something that it was like something that was very badly optimized. It was just you would having to brute force it so much. It was actually really well done, and it was really fantastic. But if you manage to look past the sort of DLC, it is fairly damn fantastic title. Like I said, it looks great, it plays great, and it's all round a brilliant ton of fun. There is also a first impression video, like probably most videos are going to be here, because lots of my games I've played this year have literally ended up on the channel in some means of some way. So you have to kind of forget. Just look for the button wherever it is. I don't know where to put it. Probably down in the right or left, or maybe in the middle. I'm not going to put it in the middle. That'd be really mean. But, you know, there is a first impressions video, you know, via the button for more in-depth footage. But if you really want a quick little roundup, Evolve is all about a 4v1 gameplay. Not many games do this these days, although they're starting to kind of latch onto it. But, I mean, nothing's been done to the extent of such a big budget. Evolve was a pretty big AAA-ish title. I mean, with four players group being hunters with a range of different classes that made for some great playing styles, similar to the monsters, which was as you would have one monster and it had 3 different stages and they would evolve throughout the level, and there was sort of a vastly, like very vastly different playing styles compared to certain monsters. You had Goliath, which was a big hulking beast, big heavy beast, big damage beast and everything, and then you'd have other ones, and I've forgotten their names, dang it. But you had Speedy, I had to call him the Speedy Devil, because it was terrifying, just pure speed around and then grab you and zap you away and kill you. But you know, there was like speed, but you had less health, or you were slower but more health and more armor, and it's just like you had that sort of way up when you were trying to play in the games, and it was just awesome. Evolve is really just fast, fun, edge of your seat tension, and I really did honestly have a big blast with this. I mean, this came out, I think it was March. I'm not entirely sure. It's kind of sort of more towards the beginning of the year, and it was awesome. I mean, a lot of people end up getting to the end of the year and they start going, oh, Call of Duty, Fallout, Assassin's Creed, yada 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 yada, and it's like, well, what about all these games that came out like before May? I know May literally I think had zilch games or anything of notable like release sort of thing. Next year looks slightly different. There's a lot of really fantastic games I want to get a hold of in the first 6 months, just from the get-go. But Evolve came out, and it was fantastic. And with this, it's taking number 9, and I'm pretty damn happy with it being here. So let us get on to the next spot. Now, moving into number 8, you might find this a little bit different. At number 8 is Black and White Bushido. Now, I have to say, this is pretty much caught me really off guard. It certainly took me by a big surprise, and this was a title that me and Charlotte Shuffle got to try out at EGX. We tried quite a lot of titles. I'm not going to say we didn't try loads of titles. I'm talking literally about 50 plus titles over the time we spent there. Is probably how much we done. But this one really did stand out, and it pretty much instantly hooked us. It's fairly simple mechanics. You do have light and dark, and you can hide in the shadows. Like if you're a light character, you can hide in the light. If you're a shadow character, you can hide in the shadows. And then the game kind of changes up, like the light and darkness will change around during your gameplay and everything going on. And it was really awesome. It's a very unique and almost hilarious outcomes at times. The game felt very well rounded, and it hadn't released yet. They were still doing some polish and touch up. But that kind of was like, EGX was probably a perfect time to sort of go, right, maybe we should tweak this a little, tweak that, and whatnot. Of course, if you do want to see a little bit more, there is that button. You make sure you hit it and you can find out a little bit more about it. But what is it, you might be asking? Well, you're placed into Arena. There is a variety of modes going on. I think there was actually a capture the flag type thing, which actually changed. Basically, if you were, say you were Shadow, capture the flag, they would create more Shadow. Capture flag again, create more shadow until there was just no shadow, no light, should I say. Which then, if you killed your opponent during then, you kind of won, sort of thing. But there was like I said, it's almost simple mechanics, but it's so fast, so frantic, and you're just like, well, with your edge of your seat, just, I highly recommend. I was using a controller. I don't think you could use a mouse and keyboard for this thing because it was insane. We were just like dashing around really, really quickly, and half the time, I think it was, I'm pretty sure at EGX, me and Charlotte Shuffle basically had pretty much a stalemate because we were that quick at hitting swords against each other. It was just clank all for about 30 times. Eventually, one of us, I can't quite remember off the top of my head, would hit the other and win, and it was just mental. It was a ton of fun. Even like, I'm pretty sure that me, my fiance, Charlotte Shuffle, and Ben, where we met there, had a sort of 2v2, and it was insane. It was so much fun. It really was. I mean, like I said, it takes wit, it takes cunning, it's fast reaction in order to place this title. To play this title, should I say, but it is wicked fun. But don't blame me if your friends start raging and leaving you when you trash them. Because this is one of those games that you might be like, oh, Super Smash Bros. Type thing, where people are just like, yep, we're no longer friends, bye. And with that though, Black and White Bushido is getting number 8 because, well, it definitely caught me by surprise, and it was a ton of fun to play. I'm gonna have to say it. I really am gonna have to say it. Zooming, flying, and hitting his way into number 7 position is the fantastically and overly fun Rocket League. I don't know what it is, why it is, how it is, but this little title really hooks you and had me playing for so many hours, online and offline. For some reason, this works. It shouldn't, but it does. It outright should not work, but it somehow does. There is a video link to more, but the gist of Rocket League is cars with football, and I pretty much despise football. But this is a ton of fun. I was pretty much, when I recorded the Smash look for this, I was on the edge of my computer chair, like rigidly, like right over going, come on, I can do it, yeah, I can do it. Like, I highly recommend a controller for this, by the way, because of the way it is, because you're driving around. I always use, if any sort of driving ace type thing, except for Saints Row, I think, I usually tend to use a controller. But it was insane, and just really edgy your seat, really a ton of fun, really hooks you. Brilliant soundtrack, great visuals, and I don't know what it is, but it's just fun to jump in and out of. There is so much customization as well. You can change your car's body, you can change the wheels, you can just add wee funny things onto the antenna. I put a Scottish flag. You can put wee hats on your car, like a wee top hat, or you know, what do you call it? Wee hat with a wee twirly thing. Quite remember the name of it. But it's like you can just add a bunch of crazy things and just look awesome. And you just had, you know, you had the heavier bodies, the lighter bodies, and everything for your car and all that. But the game really keeps you glued to the screen. And definitely, like I said, on the edge of your seat, it becomes such clutch gameplay. Like, if you hit that ball a certain way, it could go in the goal, or it could bounce back, or it could go horribly wrong. It just really depends. I mean, I remember one time just literally speeding from the start, hit the ball the right way, and I went straight into the goal, and I was like, I couldn't be more happy with myself, because that was just perfect. But other times, it's just like, crap, where's the ball, where's the ball? And it's nuts. It really is nuts. And you're going to have a ton of fun with this. Some people will be, like, they'll probably post videos of trick shots they've managed to do. Like, I've seen so many, and it's just like, your brain just goes, how? It's mentally cool. But you want something fast and daft fun? You should definitely check this one out. And with that, Rocket League definitely gets into my top 10, because it was such a blast to play. And, well, I still play it just now and still stream it and everything. But, yeah, guys, Rocket League, fun. But with that, we're going to be moving into number 6. And, well, we're at the end of the second half. And with that, there's going to be quite a few similarities between the next few titles. See if you can spot them. But coming in at number 6 is Anno 2205. Again, I have a lovely Smash look that goes really in depth on this title. It's quite long, so please bear that in mind. Get the popcorn ready. But there's something I'd like to say about that. Basically, I started playing the game, and I didn't put it down for around about 9 to 10 hours straight in one sitting. It becomes that addictive and that engrossing that you just don't notice the time. And that's kind of what you want from like a city builder-ish economy type game. It's like you sit down and just play it. You don't care about the time, it just goes on and you're just like, wow, where did everything go? But the gist of Anno 2205, anybody who doesn't know, the Anno series has been around quite some time. It usually covers different years. This time is where you're actually going for the moon. But you build your colony on islands and nice lovely scenic lands, and you head north to build in the ice areas and hope to start building on the moon. That's kind of your main set sort of end goal. But I've got to say, Anno 2205 really caught my attention. It held it for a very, very long time. It is outstandingly fun to play. It's a blast. It looks utterly freaking fantastic, by the way. Like, the visuals on this title always quite get above a lot of titles, but this looked insane. Even the water looks nuts. The scenery was insane. It was just like, wow. Like, your eyes pop out just like, wow. With that, it takes number 6 in Smash Gaming's top games of 2015. And we'll be moving on to the second half of 5 to 1 just in a second. Bundling its way into the midpoint of our countdown is none other than Cities Skylines. Did tell you there'd be quite a bit in common, did I not? Posed as the game to take the city builder crown from SimCity, it had a massive task ahead of it, but somehow, and in some damn way, it did everything right and so damn well. If you'd like to see it in action, click the button. You know that little button? But the game has received so much content from developers, modders, and little things on the Steam Workshop and everything. More than that, there's so much now. It's insane. It really, really is insane. I don't actually think that the developers really knew, or thought, it would amount to what it did. And I mean, there were digs at SimCity, you could clearly tell, but I think them and everyone else were a little shocked. But it was totally well deserved. They've even added a very hefty big expansion pack, After Dark, which adds, it has this sort of day-night cycle that things can happen. They've added a lot more sort of leisure facilities and transport type things. There's just a whole host to do with that, and it's so cool. I said cool. Really weird. I've had a blast with this, I really did. I continue to do so. It's truly awesome to build up massive cities, or, have themes of your cities, and, not have to have any worries about the game breaking. Unless you use unstable mods, you've been warned. That thing can happen. But, it's filled with some really great content. It is really, really, truly awesome to see such a fantastic title, and something of, how should I say, the genre was feeling a bit stale. I mean, SimCity came out and it was meant to be like, oh yeah, SimCity, and everybody's like, it was terrible. I enjoyed it, but the whole always online, the servers breaking, and then they released an update, which was round about the time of oh, City Skylines might actually take the crown, and it was too little too late. And I don't know what EA was thinking with that title. It really wasn't what it should have been. City Skylines is definitely one of those titles. It's awesome. It looks awesome. It plays awesome. There is so much content. It's nuts. And you certainly couldn't go wrong if you really like city builders. And for that, City Skylines is going to be taking the midpoint in our top 10 here, and I'm really chuffed with that. Let us move on to number 4. Time to bring out number 4, and well, it had to be somewhere in the list, right? It's good old TerraTech. And I know this is still in early access. I did say there was going to be an early access title somewhere in the list, and well, it's right here. But it was kind of brought out this year, and I feel that it's in a state now to enter this. Plus, like I mentioned before, titles that did come out this year were going to be in it in some way, maybe. Hence, here we are. I will have to say though, this is one of the most viewed things on the channel. I mean, I literally randomly bought it during the summer sale. I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool, check it out. It was at a time that I was kind of summer was, 2015 had a odd summer. There was not very many games out and there was nothing ticking over. So I was like, crap, I need something. So I was kind of playing a few games and played TerraTech for a few hours. And I was like, I actually really quite like this. I'm going to do a series on this, just see how it does. And then about 3 weeks after I started the series, possibly, the channel exploded. And I don't mean exploding in a small way. We hit 1,000 subs and I was like, right, I'm doing a charity event, which I want to do more of. I love doing the charity events because it was like, it's a nice way to just kind of provide back. And I do believe gamers and everything can really head up the whole charity drive thing because it's just such a really good thing to do. I mean, I did do it for special effect and I really want to do another one. I just don't know how to kind of properly do it. Probably going to look into that a bit more. But like, TerraTech exploded and still does really well on the channel. I mean, have cut it back a little bit just because so it involves me not getting burnt out, gives you longer episodes, but also kind of, there's, you know, keeps things really, really fresh because obviously I've done a lot. There is a ton of videos in that, so I don't want to really, like, I'm bored because I'm having fun and everything. Like I said, it's one of the most biggest things viewed in the channel. I also, you know, the devs are wicked cool. It was really good to kind of meet them at EGX and chat away about things. I mean, the performance, like, we all know the performance issues in that game, but they have been improving, they have gotten better. You know, of course, there is a few seasons in the channel, like you probably may or may not know. There's season 1, 2, and we've just started the Minion series, season, whatever you wish to call it. I mean, anybody wondering what TerraTech is, it's pretty much, currently, there's meant to be a proper story mode put in, but right now it's like a sandbox and you've got some quests you can do and everything. It is a massively procedurally generated world you kind of get from the get-go. No one world's kind of going to be the same. Things may be in different places. You're going to do the same sort of missions, but you know, it's going to be that way. I mean, you create techs or crafts, whatever you wish to call them, big, small, flyers and all. Seek out and kill the others and steal their parts and add bits and bobs. All the techs are mostly made up by the community and kind of put into the population pool. And it's just really quite awesome to get your creative juices going. I've made some massive techs, and we all know the famous Smashinator if you've watched the series or seasons. Yes, with an S, because he's kind of a staple of Smash Gaming's fray into TerraTech, I suppose. And you know, the huge base and other crazy things, just it's a ton of fun, and I've streamed a lot of it, and it's nice to just interact with people in that because you can build stuff along with them. And it's a game to really just let loose. And with that, it's entering number 4 because I feel it's a good time to enter it there. I mean, I'm kind of like of the sort of thing, like, I did ponder whether to enter an early access title, but I do feel like there's a good amount of content, it's at a stable time, and I had a ton of fun. Like, I did have a ton of fun, and it did kind of come out this year. And we'll leave it at that. I'm proud to put it at number 4. And let us get moving on. Alright, and we're moving into the top 3 remaining that make up the end of this little top gamings of 2015 for the Smash Gaming picks. Now, we roll straight into number 3 of pretty much what made my year. And again, they will, I have to say, will have pretty common themes in them, and I guess you could probably say you'll work them out pretty easily. Now, number 3 is none other than the fantastic and utterly amazing Homeworld 1 Remastered. There is an entire playthrough on the channel, and I couldn't honestly be more proud of it. Replaying this after so many years of not being able to because of current operating system, this is a true joy. You can hear it in my voice, just the sheer excitement from starting the initial episode, and it really does play to my heart. I mean, you want to know a little story? I remember playing this game along with the second and Cataclysm on my very first PC, which made up of 256 megabytes of RAM, none of your gigs, and 3 gigabytes of a hard drive. That's what it is. There's nothing compared to today's standards. I mean, you journey across the stars, seeking out your homeworld as you're exiled. It really did set off my RTS favoritism on PC, which kind of just grew to what it kind of is nowadays. It grew immensely to this day, with an outstanding sort of 3D movement system that's not really been seen in many titles these days. Like, other things have tried to pull off and just failed pretty badly. But the great visuals, they sort of, I don't want to say a reskin, because they did update a lot of coding and a lot of issues that might have been there, but Gearbox really did up the ante with this. If were remasters kind of considered, this would probably be in the very, very top of that scale. It's pretty darn nuts. I mean, I could not be happier with how brilliant this RTS was, and for that it's taking number 3. Coming storming into number 2 spot is a game I'm going to be remembering for a very, very long time. It is StarCraft II Legacy of the Void, the conclusion to the massive saga spanning years. And I guess by now you're noticing a theme starting to develop here. There has been plenty of RTS titles come out this year, and not all made the cut here, only a few stood above the others. Legacy of the Void is the third and final installment in the most recent outing of the StarCraft saga, rounding it off fairly damn perfectly, I have to say. The actual last mission was insane and just nuts. Like, batshit insane. You take the role of the Protoss this time. Each title has focused on a particular faction, and this time it is the Protoss up to the stage. Being my favourite race to play in StarCraft itself, it's a true blast to play this game. The visuals are insane, the classic and outstanding cutscenes that Blizzard pulls off effortlessly is there, too, along with the superb and very, very well-rounded campaign that's filled with great content, doesn't feel like anything has been left out, or there's any filler put in to beef it out. I could not be happier with this. It had loss, gain, and everything in between you could ever want in something like this. A very, very solid story with an epic conclusion. For this is taking number 2 spot, which leads us into the final and top spot of this year for top 2015 games of the year. Before I get there, do bear in mind there is an entire playthrough of StarCraft if you happen to miss it and if it's something you'd be interested in. But let us get to the final and top number 1 game of the year. There's likely quite a few of you worked out just already, and I wouldn't blame you for it, and it was easy to see coming from a mile off. Number 1 goes to none other than Homeworld 2 Remastered. You may be wondering why is 2 here instead of 1 though? Well, each hold a special place in my heart, but I found 2 was just a little bit more fun, a little bit more enjoyable, and a little bit more awesome than the first. The movement system is still there, but the vastly overhauled squad system and new ships make it that much more fun to play and enjoy. Even the multiplayer is insanely fun to jump into. My playthrough in channel was a proud moment of mine to share such an experience with you guys, and to be able to replay something that pretty much made my childhood was such a blast. There's quite a bit different from the first, as in you're fighting a somewhat new enemy, and you're searching for something, and I don't want to reveal too much in case you just want to go and look for yourself. There is so much that goes on and so many epic battles across the stars, it's hard not to have a freaking blast playing Homeworld 2 Remastered. For this, it sits atop the rest, and I can't explain any more how much I really love this title and cannot wait for the next one coming out next month. And with that, we're at the end of our top 10 games list. Thank you all for such a fantastic year. I hope we head into 2016 running and ready to tackle brand new series, games, and lots more opportunities for Smash Gaming to grow and flourish. You make this all worthwhile, and it's been a blast to have fun in games and share it with you guys. You've all been truly awesome, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I hope you have a great new year, and let's make 2016 awesome, or more awesome than 2015. See you all next time.